A warm welcome to this session on open access books. What's the status in Asia? And well, first of all, I would like to thank the program committee for accepting this proposal on books so that we can also have this focus during the conference. I hope you have all enjoyed it so far as much as I have. I think it's been splendid to have so many fruitful conversations and attending really interesting sessions as well. So I hope this one will interest you too. I also want to thank my fellow panelists. So Kruti J. Trivedi from InflipNet in India. Kruti is a scientist with a librarian education and a PhD in library sciences. Also, warm welcome to Abrizar Abdullah, who is honorary professor at the University of Malaya in Malaysia, and also a member of the scientific committee of the Directory of Open Access Books. Really pleased to have you here, and thank you to all of you for joining this session. My name is Niels Stern. I'm the managing director of OAPEN and co-director of DOAB, which you'll hear more about today. I'm not from two countries, but I am from Denmark. That's my nationality, but OAPEN and DOAB that I represent are based in the Netherlands, so that's my sort of dual identity, you could say. We did a poll before this session, and I just wanted to share, because I was asking what is the status of open access book publishing in your country. And I got some results, just like very brief markers, and just a few ones. There were quite a few, so thank you to those of you who responded. So one said maturing, not yet well known, limited, very few, not as popular as journals, minimal, all right, not encouraging, not well placed, slow pace, not as reliable, I don't know as what, but not as reliable, and struggling but maturing. So there are different situations in different countries, absolutely, and it'd be really interesting for us also to hear what you think and what's the status in your country. So I hope we will have some chance to discuss that later. We'll hear from India and Malaysia, and Abrizar will also give a bit more regional picture. So with that, I'm going to open this by giving you maybe a global in-flight to the session by sharing a bit about what we do on open infrastructures for open access books, and just remind you of the Charleston Code of Conduct and also the request to make sessions accessible. Okay, so we're talking about books, and I couldn't help just take a picture of some of the books I was publishing 20 years ago. They were in print, yes, but just to remind ourselves that books are often quite long and quite diverse, both in languages, so you'll see some Danish, some English. We did over 20 languages when I was in publishing at a small university press in Copenhagen. So although most of this is digitized today, it's still the long form format, and it's still the deep research process that goes into book publishing that is important to keep in mind, and the trust that goes with that, especially in the humanities and social sciences. So I really, I loved publishing books, and I still love reading books a lot, also in print, but I see all the benefits, of course, from digital books. And we're going to talk about scholarly books, so really peer-reviewed books, and open access. And this is the tagline of the OAPEN library. So we're trying basically to build a world of scholarly books that are open to all and built to last. And the OAPEN library was a project between 6 university presses in Europe back in the days. We launched this library in 2010 with just a very few books. Today we are an open infrastructure, hosting, distributing, and preserving more than 40,000 books. So it has grown over the past 15 years. It's built on the core values of peer review, quality, and of course open access. And today it's really a global service. So although we are based in Europe, we have publishers from all over the world. And it's for the end users, fully free and open to use. So there are no registration, no paywalls, no restrictions. We see every month, this is monthly counter-conformant downloads from 1.5 million downloads per month, excluding bots. So there's a lot of usage, and it's global. It's been rising steadily. There was a peak during COVID, of course, but it's been rising steadily over the years. And as you can see, it's really global usage, which is fantastic. So we see even in Antarctica, we have usage. So that's quite good. But I also took some stats from Asia. So you'll see here that, as much as Russia is also a part of Asia, there's a lot of usage from Russia, but India, Indonesia, the Philippines, generally the 3 countries with most usage in the region. But there's a long tail, and when you look at the numbers from Asia, you'll see that it's around 25% of the total usage coming from the OAPEN library. I think, considering the size of the population in Asia, which probably is around 60% of the world population, we could perhaps do more, and that's something I think we can discuss, how we can have more books that are freely available, integrated into library systems and to the public in general in Asia. Bibliodiversity is a very important marker. We discussed that yesterday here in this same room as well. Bibliodiversity is about ensuring that when it comes to books, that there is a diversity of languages, there is a diversity of a representation of many different cultures, different types of practices, and so on. So this is a key concept for us that we support. In the OAPEN library, there are over 70 different languages represented. We also operate the Directory of Open Access Books, which was a project that came out of OAPEN in 2013, and the same criteria are in place for DOAB, peer review, open access, open licenses. It's a global index, so we only host the metadata, just like DOAJ for journals. And for DOAB, the way we want to make it available globally is by working with trusted platforms. And I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. And DOAB is for publishers that have been accepted. It's free to use, so they can upload their books for free, and then they get the discoverability across the globe. And it's also, of course, open metadata. We have around 100,000 titles indexed in DOAB, and as I said, they can be used for free, and we really encourage usage. So for libraries, you can get all the metadata in different formats, MARC, KBART, CSV, Onyx, and so on the website, and we really encourage libraries to use these metadata. They can also be used, and now this is a very simplified overview of the infrastructure, but you can see from left to right, it's really how we work with publishers, pushing metadata, pushing the books into OAPEN and DOAB, and then downstream to libraries and other end users. And the important part, of course, is that we transform the metadata so that the metadata downstream match the needs of library aggregators. So, for example, the Ex Libris knowledge base, the EBSCO, OCLC, and so on, integrate the books. But also many, many web services use these open metadata because they're based on Dublin Core, so we can be harvested using the OAI PMH protocol. We are hosted at the CERN data center in Geneva, so the servers are there, which is good because we have a lot of traffic with all the downloads, and they have a lot of capacity, so I guess our servers are somewhere down in that big building. And we are running the infrastructure on the DSpace repository software. Just very quickly, how can we make this work? We are giving everything away for free. We have to recover our costs, of course. So we have a library supporter program, and libraries around the world want to invest in us. We have over 300 libraries doing that, and that's more or less half of what we get. Then we provide services to research funders. We charge for those services, doing collections. And of course, the publishers also contribute with fees and some sponsorships. Right. We also we offer a toolkit, which I really could recommend you all. It's if you want to know more about open access book publishing or have colleagues, faculty members, authors, there are short articles on almost every subject you could imagine around OA books. And if you can't find something, let us know, and then we'll, with our large editorial committee, find maybe someone who could write an article, or perhaps you could write an article. That would be great. So it's really trying to pull together information about OA book publishing. We have recently launched an ambassador program, so if you're interested in engaging more with us and OA books in your country or region, please do let us know. It's slowly building. We have not an ambassador in Thailand yet, and there are many other countries we don't. And then the trusted platforms. This is a way, as I said, for us to scale. So you'll see that we are missing trusted platforms in Asia. Trusted platforms means that we give some of the evaluation, the trust-based relationship, to another platform that aggregates many publishers. And then they ensure that the publishers that they have in their platform meet the standards of DOAB. And then we have a simple technical integration with that platform, which enables us to scale with many more publishers than if we were going one by one. But we still also work with single publishers that apply through our form, and we evaluate each publisher that comes in. But it's a way also for us to understand, or help some others to help us understand what are quality publishing in terms of books in their region. Right, so in summary, I think open access is good for research and the public, and the reason why we began OAPEN was really to help disseminate our books, good scholarly research, and make it more accessible and used. And then I think we need open infrastructures to avoid lock-in issues around books. That's why I work for OAPEN and DOAB every day. We need diverse funding models. We discussed that yesterday here in this room as well. And we need efficient OA policies. And things you can do if you're a librarian is really to integrate what we have into your library. It's for free. If you're a publisher, have your OA books made discoverable, for example, through DOAB. You can use the OA Books Toolkit to learn more about OA book publishing, and then you can collaborate nationally, regionally with us through the Trusted Platform Network. So with that, I want to thank you. This was my part of the presentation, and I'm happy to give over the microphone to Kruti. Thank you.
Thank you, Nils. So good morning, everyone. Today I'll give you the brief scenario about the open access, especially in India. So when we talk about open access, we talk about the free and unrestricted access of the scientific knowledge for researchers, policymakers, practitioners, and public without the locks or paywall. While talking about the evaluation of open access in India, it started in 2000. It aligns with the global triggers like Berlin Open Access Initiative and Budapest Open Access Initiative. At the time, the researchers from India also started movement and started taking initiative regarding the open access in India. So in 2004, it witnessed the growth of institutional repositories in India. And 2009, it's the milestone where the national level platforms like Shodh Ganga came into existence. After 2014, government start thinking about making the policies and mandate the open access. So some of the funding agencies like DST, DBT, they mandate the public funded research to be published in open access. Then in 2018-19, the open access is to be seen in a broader way in terms of open science and the data discourse. The NEP was another milestone in 2020. NEPs promote the open access educational resources and equitable access, the democratizing public access and public knowledge. The implementation of ONOS in 2025 aims to strengthen the research and the knowledge is in terms of open access. Open access knowledge and resource should be strengthened. So I'll talk about some of the Indian initiative. The biggest repository in India, we have Shodhganga, then the Shodhgangotri. Shodhgangotri is the synopsis, the repository of synopsis where the Ganga flows. So after synopsis, the PhD thesis, then institutional repository. Shodh Chakra is the research life cycle of the researcher. So some of the initiative at InfibNet we've taken in terms of the open access. The major initiative recently Government of India initiated is the One Nation, One Subscription, which is the transformative step towards the equitable access of knowledge and high quality academic content to the researchers across the India. So the main vision behind the open One Nation, One Subscription is to transform the open access in India. So not only to provide subscription, but also strengthen the open access in India. So the vision is to come up with the framework that gives the subscription-based model that provides the equitable, unified access to knowledge resources and seamless access to each users. So users not only consume the research, but they produce the research, and that research can be shared, that can be validated. So that is the end goal. So providing resources is not the end. It is just beginning. So the production of research is the main goal behind the One Nation, One Subscription. Now talking about the open access book scenario in India. So the landscape of open access books is the emerging component, and it is the nation's broader scholarly communication ecosystem. It also aligns with the national and global movement towards the democratizing knowledge, and it also aligns with the NEP. Although in compared to journal, books lag behind in India, the open access books lags little behind, but the existing infrastructure in terms of the repository, in terms of the policy, it gives the clear indication that India committed towards the open educational resources and open freely available monograph and books. Here is some statistics. This NEP came in 2020. After that, you can see there are increase in number of books from India. The open access book chapters as well as book publishing increase in last couple of years. So this data derives from the Scopus database. So it is a year-wise book publishing. Here is the year-wise book chapters publishing from India in open access. So these are some of the open access initiative like Digital Library of India, Indian Culture, then NDLI, Vigyan Prasar, and the NCERT is it provide the textbooks in open access mode. Now talking about the challenges, the main challenge in India is the sustainable funding models. Like Nels told that to sustain the open access, they need fund, and institute should provide the fund. But Indian institute, Indian small publishers, they lack the fund and lacking the sustainable model. So India should come up with some sustainable model. Another, the biggest challenge is the mandate. Open access in India promotes the open access in terms of journal, but we don't have any open access mandates in terms of books. Language is another complexity. The Indian books are in multilingual, so the standardization of metadata and the global visibility is again the major challenge. Authors are still not aware that there is an option to publish in open access book, so that is another challenge. Author is also not aware about the copyright, the licensing, the common common license agreement. Also, India also lacks the centralized data like DOAB. We check under DOAB, there are only 43 titles, Indian titles available. But still, we don't have any national system in terms of like DOAB. So there is a need for DOAB at India level. So now, considering all these challenges, what is the way forward? So India should come up with the clear and dedicated policy for the open access book framework. There is a main need. Library publishing, like yesterday in my talk, I talk about the stewardship of librarian. Librarian should work as a contributor and a publisher, how they can contribute in the peer review process, in the metadata standardization, licensing. So library-led publishing will help in India to lead in open access books. Open access, like I said, is the closely aligned with the NEP, the National Education Policy of India. So an educational policy promotes the multilingual books. So emphasis should be given production of the multilingual and regional level books in India. Awareness, public engagement, because authors are still not aware, so there should be some initiation regarding the awareness and the training programs regarding the open access books. Another, the way forward is the open access books should be recognized under the research assessment, because in comparison to journal, books still not understand in the tenure, in the promotion, in the research assessment. So there is a need for research assessment, should recognize the open access books. So the question is, if the knowledge is publicly funded, why the access is private? So India should come up and maybe in one nation, one subscription in future, because the goal is to transform the open access, so government should take some initiative in this regard. So thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Okay, taking off from Christy's, Niels, I would like to share on the status of open access books in Asia in relation to Malaysia, where I come from, and also Southeast Asia. And a special, I would say, topic or title that I have shaped here is Unlocking the Promise of OA Books in Southeast Asia. This actually came based on my experience involving in an open access sort of initiative and movement in Malaysia and Southeast Asia, beginning in 2007, where academic libraries in Southeast Asia have started to develop institutional repositories in the name of digital library, not open access. We started off digital library, where digital library in Southeast Asia, in Malaysia especially, the focus is on local content, and the locus is on full text. Okay, so we started with IR, and then which attract the attention of policymakers in Malaysia to establish actually at the national level a service that can be offered to the region at that time. Malaysian Abstracting and Indexing Service. We have wonderful record of science there, which also is accessible throughout Southeast Asia. And after that, we started with national journals. Okay, Southeast Asia participated in collating national journals in the form of a journal hosting platform. But we still do not call it open access, although it is open, available to be read by free. All right, so this open access movement coming in with actually initiative triggered by DOAJ, Directory of Open Access Journal, Directory of Open Access Book, yeah, where actually Southeast Asia, I would say Malaysia, is actually a heavy consumer of DOAB, because university libraries in Malaysia, they actually include DOAJ, DOAB, Open, Project, Muse, JSTOR in their library website, in their collection, as part of their collection. So in Southeast Asia, there is actually a policy foundation and also emerging practice in open access. Yeah? For example, Indonesia, it has a wonderful Garba Rujukan Digital, where it has a record of science for more than 800 journal titles, of which the second largest producer in the world in terms of open access journals. And I just knew that last week when I prepared for this, that the Institute of Technology Bandung Press actively publish open access book. We have somebody actually from Bandung, maybe not in this, yeah. But the platform is basically the publisher website, yeah. And I don't see this being incorporated in major platform, for example, in DOB, for example, all right? Malaysia, yes, Malaysia has a foundational infrastructure via MOSP, via e-journal or MySite, but I do not dare to put that in because at present it is not accessible, yeah? But this particular platform actually remains article and data focused. But there is a national mandate for open access thesis and dissertation under the Ministry of Higher Education, but only 20 universities under the ecosystem of MOHI, yeah. But even MOSP, it is under another ministry within the ecosystem, but the players are mainly from the academics, yeah. So there is a national mandate for OA. There is also a national mandate, a policy for open science. Singapore is a strong support for green. Yeah, the IR is very robust. They have very good platform and support for open, for hybrid, for gold, and also for green. Okay, Thailand. Yes, Thailand has a central platform for open access journals. In fact, at the national, Southeast Asian ASEAN, we call it ASEAN level, we have actually initiated, okay, a journal. Open journal system, sorry, not open journal system, but actually an open access journal platform under various countries. Thailand has Thai JO, for example. Malaysia has My Journal or My Site. Indonesia also has, yeah. But this particular platform is not really successful because there has been no mandate about that. It is just basically initiative under research groups, okay, under specific universities, and only at that time Thailand and Malaysia has actually come up with institutional mandate, meaning that it is not really at the macro level. It is still at under the Ministry of Higher Education level. Vietnam also has good policy and also emerging practice in terms of open access educational resources, which includes textbooks. So this is the scenario in Southeast Asia. Okay, but in terms of open access book, there is still a visibility crisis. You cannot find, it is not findable. In fact, Niels, it is not there in in open. Yeah, but there have been actually a lot of, open access book produced by academic publisher outside Malaysia, for example. Meaning that there are open access book by Malaysian-based authors, but published by other publishers. So this is not good actually if we talk about visibility of open access book coming from the region. Okay, so yes, we are consumer-oriented access. We do rely on global platform. It is there in the academic library database, but we fail to systematically showcase our own open access book. It's there, yeah, but the understanding is lacking, yeah, and then we because of this we lack mechanism to actually track our production of open book. So that is the result, yeah, of the visibility crisis, low discoverability of Southeast Asian published OA books. Yeah, same like what Christy has actually shared for India just now. Okay, so what I can see that there is actually no regional DOAB, yeah, for Southeast Asia. Okay, all right. So yeah, invisible. This is something that I would like to share. Even in data perbukuan Indonesia, data perbukuan negara Malaysia, for example, it contains no mention of OA books. Yeah, no mention at all, no data, and it is basically, the data is basically on the production, on the cost, on the returns, the cost of production, and also the sales, yeah, and who produced what, and also who are the best author, the best organization, the best publisher producing books. All right, that's the data that we have, but there is no mention about the reach. All right, book citation index is nothing to them. They do not know how to actually track. This is also missing in terms of in terms of metrics that books has to offer. Yeah, because we know that books you can actually track by citation, right? But this has no value to us actually. The citations, book citations, but book is measured through citations also in the context of research universities in Malaysia. So when we talk about books, how can you actually, when in research assessment, the issue is that when we talk about research publication in terms of journals, okay, there are metrics actually that you cover. And then what the policymakers want to see is that how can we actually measure the impact of books that you have produced, and it's still using the metrics. Book citation index, citation from Google Books, for example, and number of sales, prestige by academic press. Okay? So that's why the interest in actually producing book among the arts and social sciences, arts, humanities, social sciences has actually declined. Yeah? So this you can actually see in the national statistic, but you do not know why, right? But it has actually been declining, yeah, because more and more social scientists are producing journal articles. Okay, so this omission in official data, in the data, national book data, I believe I'm not sure how, in Thailand, but I can see this in Indonesia and also Malaysia. It's have a detailed evidence-based policy on where actually government should channel money actually. For Malaysia, the government has incentive that students students up to university students, they have book vouchers. They are given book vouchers for 100 ringgit. So actually, if we maybe somebody or an entity can approach the government to actually look at this policy and how this can be subsidized to the world, right, through open access initiative, to open access books. Okay, so reliance on policies. We cannot unlock what we cannot see. There's no data and all that. So understanding actually depends on incomplete proxies. All right, for us to understand how actually we can deliver open access books, for example. Now that I understand that you do it through this space, right? So it is possible because we have actually a good infrastructure through journal articles, through data sets now, but we can also do, the infrastructure is already there, and how we can actually further scale up this open access book initiative through a shared platform, okay, in the context of Malaysia, maybe in the context of Southeast Asia. Okay, no coordinated method that exists, right? But there have been universities that actually index open access book in their library catalogue. This is what I see happening, yeah? But it's just that we do not have a shared infrastructure. So, the reason, this is one reason coming from me, my experience as academics, okay, that OA articles flourish while books lack, yeah? Because of this, the same like what you have presented, you share with us, Christy, from Indian experience, because there is a misalignment in terms of incentive and funding. All right. So APC is budgeted into research grants in Malaysia and in Southeast Asia. Yeah. There is University Central APC Fund established. It's either gold or hybrid. Yeah. Incentives are built in and tied to the career advancement. All right. And rewarded through the quartile. Top 1%, top 10%. If you are publishing there, you get more money in the. Okay, so problem with OA is that there is no BPC, book publication charges, all right? And also the amount of research grant that the social scientists receive, I'm talking about Malaysia here, it's just 20,000 ringgit, the maximum. But it is more than BPC. So we cannot actually budget that in our research grant, okay? I don't think so. Anybody in Malaysian universities, public universities, knows about BPC. No, even the academic librarians. So the incentives are missing, and prestige remains tied to university press. So if you publish with Cambridge, for example, if you publish with Wiley Elsevier, you get more marks there. Yeah. So OA book publishers are not recognized as quality markers, and okay, I've experience in this where I publish an open access book, which I have to fork out the money from my own pocket, and suddenly the publisher has been identified as predatory by Bills. And this publisher is actually in Tech Open. It's a good publisher actually. By that time, Jeffrey Bills listed that as a possible potential predatory publisher, right? Yeah. So this is it. Open access book has not been identified as quality markers. Yeah. Open access journal, open access is not identified as quality markers. The quality markers is still the quartile. The quartile. Yeah? Because government are funding APC only for open access, right? But it is only those top 1%, top 20%, Q1 journals only. So this is actually what I believe, the incentive mismatch, where perhaps we can think about this on how we can actually proceed further to unlock. Okay, the master key, we need to unlock the master key. So this is a logo of open science in Malaysia. We developed this. This is the logo of open science in Malaysia. So I would like to maybe share this thought that perhaps we need to have a policy integration. We advocate for explicit OA books mandates in national framework, shared infrastructure. BPC might not be a good model for Southeast Asia. Maybe we need to look at how we can come together to develop a diamond open access platform. But this will take a long time. But maybe I have some ideas on how can we do this actually through working together with commercial publishers first. Okay, all right. Prestige alignment, formally recognized OA books in research assessment. Yeah, develop quality assurance framework specific to OA books. I know that OA books has to also go to thorough peer review as well. Okay, make OA books measurable in national statistic. This is what I hope to see. Maybe librarians, maybe I can also write to the National Library to make sure that cover open access book in your research, in your study, yeah, and also build a regional metadata hub for discovery and impact assessment. So that's my thought about it, and maybe colleagues in this room can think of which part of this unlocking the key, unlocking the potential to open access book that you can help to build. So I would like to pledge here that I can go leading the conversation about redefining academic prestige, where I have actually talked about it in Malaysian research assessment, that this is the way to go for arts, humanities, and social sciences, yeah, for research impact assessment that can be gauged through open access materials, open access research output, maybe through OA books. So which part of this key that you help to build? Maybe advocate for policy change in your country, in your institution. Maybe you can champion a regional publishing consortium. Yeah, Niels, you're doing it. And maybe build the data system, so we need to track our progress in relation to OA books in Asia. So that's about it from me, Niels, and audience. Be pioneering and thoughtful. Thank you very much. Terima kasih. I'll pass it over to you now.
Thank you very much, Abrita and Kruti. It was very, very exciting to hear about both the overview and the specific situation in India. And we have a few more minutes, so I warmly welcome questions from the audience, if there are any. Let's just scroll back to the beginning here. Any questions? I have one. Maybe I should comment on, you mentioned one specific publisher? Yeah, is there a question? Okay. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you for very insightful presentation. When we talk about e-books, in India, India is a highly diverse country and there are so many languages. So there is always a question about coverage of regional language publications, which is completely missing out of the any program. And these are massive collections, bringing a lot of laurels, prestige, awards, and recognition. Kannada and Bangla, Urdu languages. So, as you are working with the top institution in the country, how do you perceive this, coverage of this regional language e-books particularly?
Yes, so just I said in my presentation, InflipNet just initiated in align with the NEP to production of the textbooks in Indian languages. So the name of the project that our Prime Minister's aim is to produce all textbooks in undergraduate and postgraduate level in different languages. So it's not only to convert the book from English to national language, but to produce.
This is not about textbook actually. Beyond textbook, there are high quality publications in regional languages which are not being covered by big publishers.
Yes.
So this is completely a different publishing model also, that they cover only English books.
Yes.
So do you think that publishing industry has to come forward and
Yes, definitely. Yeah, that is the future. Knowledge should be produced, and the multilingual book should be produced in India, and that is the need. Yes.
I think it aligns with the point I made about bibliodiversity, so ensuring that we have many languages, languages represented in the different directories, including in DOAB.
Yes.
Thank you for the question. Are there other questions? Yes, in the back.
Thank you. I'm now working for DOAB as DOAB China ambassador, and also I'm working for STM Association as a China consultant. So it's my first time to know DOAB people. For journal publishing, we have heard many questions or arguments about APCs. So you are just talking about BPC. So after so many years, we don't have, so many countries, we don't have many policies, national level policies on how we can charge APC. So for BPCs, I don't know if DOAB or any other organizations have this kind of information on the country level or national level, how BPC should be charged. So any regulations?
That's a very good question. I don't have an opinion about how they should be charged, but I can see that they are charged. There is a project called Open APC, which is monitoring APC levels. It's running at Bielefeld University in Germany. They also include BPCs, and they actually use DOAB data to track that. So you can actually go and see the different BPC levels and per publisher. So there's an overview. In the toolkit that I mentioned, there is an article showcasing different funding models for open access books. Of course, the BPC model is one, but it's only one. And it is a model that I'm quite sure will not be applicable across the globe. So there are alternative funding models. And for example, Knowledge Unlatched is a funding model. There is Path to Open, there is UPL Open's model, there is Open Book Collective model. There are many different collective funding models where libraries also can help funding the books, as we mentioned. So I think the library, the institutional engagement in funding is really essential. So I can recommend have a look at this overview.
Okay, thank you.
And maybe just to come back as a final point on the question of quality, and I must say I've never been a fan of Beale's list, and I think this it's a bit questionable. But I would say that whenever there is a book that sometimes libraries come to us and they say, oh, we think there is something about this book or this publisher, then we always do investigations. And so we ask for peer review reports. We go deep into a conversation with the publisher. So it's really important, also if you're a librarian, that if you see something in DOAB, which is a fast-growing, huge directory, and we are a small team, then please contact us, because this is the way we can help build a strong, qualitative directory of open access books globally. And I would very much welcome also to engage with the initiatives in Southeast Asia and in India, so that we can ensure that there is a better discoverability and accessibility of books from the region. I think that is very important also, reflecting the question of multilingualism in DOAB. So with that, I'm afraid we have to close because we are over time, but thank you very much for your attention, and thank you for your presentations.